What's up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of the Music Bowl. My name is Herd. I will be your host today, and I would like to just start off by, addressing the elephant in the room. There's clearly some different audio quality going on here today. I am currently in Pennsylvania on my motorcycle. I'm riding through the Delaware Recreational Gap. I'm not exactly sure what that means. I've never been on this ride before, but I figured I wanted to get the podcast up and going again. I love talking when I'm on my motorcycle. I usually talk to myself because I need expert opinions on things. But I'm going to be doing a lot of the moto vlogging, and I figured, if I wanted to get the podcast up and running again, what better way to do it than here on the bike. I'm here with my girl Skylar, who is my motorcycle. There are now going to be two places to check out these episodes. So the Moto Music Monday, as I'm going to call it, can be found here on the podcast, as you would normally be checking it out. But if you want to actually feel like you are on the ride with me, you can jump over to my YouTube channel and check out this exact same episode, but just from the first person perspective on the GoPro. There will also be some other moto content generally on that channel as well. I think it's going to be called Travels with Herd, but I admittedly have not yet set that one up. So as I am recording this, I haven't done anything with the YouTube stuff. I wanted to get some episodes recorded first, and then we'll kind of go from there. This is the new segment that we're going to call Moto Music Monday. I'm not sure if it's going to be an every week or every 2 weeks or a once a month thing yet. Kind of just depends on how much I can get out and ride and record, which I hope is more than not. I ride most days of the week, so hopefully we can actually get some recording done as well. So back to the music end of things. When I was talking to some friends about what, to kind of discuss what are some things they wanted me to talk about while I'm on these rides, pretty much everybody said that I should look to talk about my vast listening, because I would say I'd put my record collection up against just about anybody's. And longtime listeners, you will know how much of a jazz snob I am, and how into the prog metal scene I have been, I should say. Still am, maybe a little less nowadays, but anyway. And in high school I grew up in the rock world doing that thing, and over the past couple of years I've been doing a very deep dive into the Latin American music styles, particularly a lot of like bachata, cumbia, things like that. But they painted a deer on the road. That's cool. Pennsylvania, that's some cool road signage. So I'm riding right now, and it says, you got the signs that say like deer crossing, but they actually painted a deer in the road so that you would know that there's deer crossing here. That's kind of cool. Haven't seen that one before. Anyway, sorry guys, back to, if you're watching the video, you'll know what I'm talking about, but if you're just checking the audio out, that may be a weird detour for you. So I figure what we'll do with some of these is I'll just kind of talk a little bit about, either what I'm currently listening to or things I think you should be checking out, and give you a little bit of why and all that good stuff, and hopefully just give you some more things to listen to and check out. As always, formulate your own opinions, call me out on my BS ones, that's all well and good. So for the first episode, for the first take on a Moto Music Monday, a bit of a strange one, especially for long-time listeners, especially because I just said I'm a jazz snob, but I would like to talk about Maren Morris's new album, Humble Quest. I believe it's called Humble Quest, I think. It's whatever one just came out like a month ago. And so, man, that's a beautiful view down there. Wow. Hopefully you're watching the video on this, guys, because that is awesome. Maren Morris's new album, it's pop country, which is right away might be like something you don't think I'm going to check out, but I'm a huge Maren Morris fan. Her album Hero I thought was very, very good, which I believe was her first one. Her second one, I didn't really dig that much into, I got to admit. Her listen to a few things here and there, but the new one's very cool. It's definitely a very personal album for her in terms of how she is dealing with trying to continue to be a pop country star and a wife and a mother now, and all that stuff. So it's very cool to see her, how she writes about those things, I guess is what I'm going to say. Some very poetic lines in songs like Hummingbird, about her son. I don't even know, actually, about her kid. Let's just go with that. But there were some very, very cool lines throughout a lot of the songs as she's wrestling with that. The opening track on that one, Riding Circles Around This Town or something like that, is kind of detailing her journey going to Nashville, and what it was like, and the kind of the leap of faith that she took, you know, to move to Nashville with just a couple of demo tapes, and just the persistence to make it. Man, what a beautiful view this is. Oh, this is so nice. And yeah, so I thought it was cool, and it really speaks to the persistence that she had to take, and how it was just one song that kind of got her big break, so to speak. But she also talks about the fact that, you know, she thought it was going to be very different once she quote unquote made it, you know. And I think a lot of us have this ideal that once we make it, life is just smooth sailing, and in the music business that is, and like, you know, you just kind of have this forever ticket. But, you know, she kind of alludes to the fact that even after all these years, even after a couple of big hits, you know, she's still just on the grind. You know, she's still having to do a lot of the same stuff she did when she was first starting out. And I think that's a cool sentiment that we can all take away, that just because you land, you know, the quote-unquote the dream job, or you get the big tour thing, or all that stuff, like whatever success looks like for you in the music business, the grind doesn't stop. You still have to maintain that, especially if you're trying to do the pop route where you're trying to stay in the headlines. You know, there's a lot of work that's going to go into that, and I just thought it was cool how she wrote about that one. And a lot of the songs had those kind of sentiments. There were some, I think it's called Furthest Thing, is a track about what it's like being on the road with, you know, your family basically back home. So she's talking specifically about, you know, having her husband back home and how they're so far away while she's on the road. But I think you can apply a value to it, to just being whoever your loved ones are as you are touring or traveling, and you're kind of leaving them behind, that sort of thing. And I definitely wore the wrong jacket today. It is very hot in this one. I have another summer jacket, and I should have worn that because, man, it's warm. Sorry, another digression. There were, I will say, a couple of tracks on the album that were straight garbage that I had to delete because I thought they were so bad. There was one about, I think the opening line of the song was something about, like, I fell in love with a guy from Michigan, and she goes into that detail. And it, you know, it's clearly a song for her husband, and, you know, rightfully so. That's all well and good. But it was too specific. I couldn't really apply any kind of value. Woo, that view, dang, man. I couldn't apply any value to that song myself. It was just like, yeah, you wrote a song for your husband, that's cool. Maybe play it for him, you know, in your own house. Like, I don't need to hear this. Likewise, the song Tall Guys, it just was really offensive to me. It felt like a very lowbrow song that, like, the pop country industry was like, hey, you should write this song because girls like tall guys, and that's really it. That was it. It was like really dumb, stupid girls like really tall guys, and that's the only, like, a value that a relationship will have, or a guy would have in a relationship, is if he's tall. And it felt real lowbrow to me. I did not enjoy it at all. So I had to delete those two songs from the album. Beyond that, once I got rid of those, thought it was pretty good. Background music had a very cool verse where she's talking about how in the music industry, not everybody even has the type of success that she had, which is, again, not necessarily like top of the list megastar. But she did have a couple of hits that, you know, she alludes to the fact that, like, look, maybe someone's going to have a fun night one night driving around listening to this song, or in a bar they might play this, and that's kind of cool because not everybody, the line in the song is, not everybody gets to leave a souvenir. which is just her saying, like, look, not everyone gets to have even that one little hit that I did. And she sounds very grateful for the fact that she got to have that one, at least that one hit. She's had a couple of big hits, so I'll give her that. But it felt very cool, and it was a very poetic way of writing that verse, and a sentiment that I think all of us as musicians can kind of dig into. So, and then as I alluded to earlier, her song Hummingbird is she wrote for her kid, and it's just very cool, very poetic, and again, something that is easy to apply a value to. It wasn't so specific that I couldn't take something from it. So, yeah, with that, I think I'll leave you there. I'm going to get back to riding here and checking out these beautiful views. So maybe I'll let the camera roll for a minute or so without me talking in your ear, so you can enjoy some views. And then definitely check out other videos on the channel. Wow, that's a big bird. That was cool. I thought he was going to fly out in front of me. Anyone watching that just saw a cool thing. Yeah, I'll let the camera roll for a minute here, just let you check out some of the scenery, and yeah, check out the new Maren Morris album. Even if you're not into the pop country thing, I think lyrically you can take some stuff from it, and just songwriting and production wise, I think there was enough cool things that it's worth at least one listen. And if you hate it, you hate it. That's totally fine. But for me, decent album minus those two songs that I talked about. So yeah, this has been the first edition of Moto Music Monday. This has been another episode of the Music Bowl. Thanks for tuning in, guys, and we'll catch you next time.